Failed the medical school entrance exam? You're utterly useless. But Quiet. If you can't become a doctor, you're worthless. Get out. My family ruthlessly disowned me after I failed my university entrance exams. They forced me to sign a document stating never to contact them again. And kicked me out of the house. Why must I endure such treatment? I've always tried my hardest. Always being compared to my excellent sister. I can't take it anymore. But a ray of hope shone for me. My life was about to change drastically, thanks to my aunt. My name is Nicole Morris, and I am 18 years old. I should be enjoying my final year of high school, but I don't have that luxury. I'm buried in studying day and night, aiming for medical school. In our family, my father is a doctor and my mother a nurse. My sister, Lucy, passed the medical school entrance exam last year. Our medical professional parents always told us, "You too will go to medical school." Lucy has always been clever and excelled academically. She was always at the top of her class and great at sports. Plus, she knew how to make our parents happy, so they adored her. Lucy would belittle me, perhaps as her way of relieving stress. She threw hurtful words at me as I struggled with my studies. "Hey, Nicole. Heard you did poorly on your mock exam again?" Lucy. It was a B. A B at this time? You're doomed. You won't pass the medical school entrance exam with that. I don't really want to pass that badly. What are you talking about? There's no point in living in this house if you can't pass medical school. If you fail, you can't stay here. With that threat, Lucy sneered disgustingly. Her expression was chillingly creepy. Living in this house. Do I really have to live the life our parents dictate? I have dreams of my own. Yes, I've always dreamed of becoming an illustrator. I love drawing, and every compliment on my artwork from others made that dream grow. I wanted to study at an art school with a design program. But being born in this family, I didn't have the right to choose that path. Even though I harbored rebellious thoughts, I couldn't voice them. Because if I did, I wouldn't be able to live in this house. My father's word was law. Just last night, I overheard my parents talking in their bedroom. Nicole will pass the medical school entrance exam, right? I'm not sure. Unlike Lucy, she's a disappointment. How can two sisters be so different? I was so sure Lucy would pass. Well, Lucy is a genius, and Nicole is average. It's unbelievable, our own child. I can hardly sleep worrying about Nicole's exams. Indeed. It'll be a shame for our family if she fails. We'll have to think about it then. How can parents say such terrible things about their daughter? It's like they've forgotten I live with them. As anger and anxiety grew within me, I still had no choice but to face the opposition. And try to do what I wanted as a high school student. Finally, the day of the exam arrived. As I was preparing my entrance ticket in the morning, Lucy appeared in my room. "Nicole, your life depends on today's exam, you know that," she said. "I know. Don't put more pressure on me. I'm saying this for your own good, you hopeless case. I've been working hard. I don't need you to tell me that." As the exam day tension was high, Lucy's undue pressure was profoundly annoying. My raised voice attracted even our parents to my room. My father opened his mouth with a look of disdain. "Hey, what are you yelling about this early? Do you understand today is the most important day of your life?" But Lucy said, "Are you blaming your poor performance on Lucy?" "No, that's not it. Let me remind you, if you fail the exam, you're out of this house. What? Shocked, I couldn't find the words. As I stood there bewildered, my mother gleefully added, "What's with that what? It's obvious, isn't it? We don't need a fool who can't become a doctor." "But, Mom, I can't survive if you kick me out now. You're 18, right? You're an adult now, so it'll be fine. If you fail, just get a job and do your best." That's. I was constantly berated by my family until I left the house. Incompetent, disappointment, no chance of passing, they said. And my mental state was nearing its limit. Even at the examination venue, my nervousness didn't subside. And my mental state during the exam was terrible. Surprisingly, I felt no confidence in my answers. 2 weeks later, on the day the results were announced, I accessed the university's website at exactly 10 a.m. Due to many people accessing at once, it was hard to connect to the results page. "Please, show me the results quickly. I don't care if it's a fail, I just want to escape this pressure." As my family impatiently asked, "Isn't it ready yet?" the website finally loaded. After comparing my exam number, I couldn't find it. No matter how many times I checked, my number wasn't there. As my parents sighed deeply, Lucy's laughter echoed through the room. Silent, I couldn't utter a word as my father slowly spoke. "Nicole, how much more do you intend to embarrass me?" "Dad. A doctor and a nurse's daughter failing medical school. Utterly useless. But Quiet. If you can't become a doctor, you're worthless. Get out." My father's face was like a demon's, his cheeks flushed with excitement. I sought help from my mother, but she wouldn't even meet my eyes. That's when my sister, Lucy, delivered the final blow. "You're just trash, aren't you?" "Lucy. But I've really been trying hard," I protested. "Excuses don't matter. You failed to get into medical school, and that's all there is to it. Just failing means you have no place in this house. That's people like you, who are useless. I'd rather you leave before you embarrass me and our parents, okay?" Bombarded with heartless words from my own family, I felt more numbness than sadness. I couldn't even cry anymore. All I could do was feel the reality of being abandoned by my family. The next day, my father thrust a pledge at me. It stated, "Never involve yourself with this family again." Without allowing me to speak, my parents demanded that I sign. Of course, I couldn't refuse, and I signed the pledge. Why did it come to this? I had tried so desperately. But no matter how hard I tried, without a medical school acceptance, it meant nothing. My parents only wanted me to become a doctor. My sister, who easily met our parents' expectations, was loved, and I was disowned just like that. A week later, I was thrown out of the house. Dragging a carry-on suitcase with no destination, my phone rang. It was my Aunt Jenny, my father's sister. As soon as I answered, I heard her cheerful voice. "Long time no see, Nicole. How did the exams go?" "Aunt Jenny, I didn't pass the medical school entrance exam." "Medical school? Weren't you always interested in drawing, Nicole?" "Yes. But my parents forced me to try for medical school. And since I failed, they kicked me out of the house." "What? Kicked out? So where are you now?" "I'm on my way to the station. I have nowhere to go." After hearing my situation, Jenny paused before saying, "Why don't you come stay with me?" "Really? Can I?" "Of course. We don't have kids, and it would be lovely to have you here. Aunt Jenny. Thank you. So I started staying at my aunt's house from that day. Although I hadn't decided on a path forward, having a destination made my steps lighter. I explained everything to Jenny and her husband upon arriving at their house. After listening, they suggested that I attend a vocational school. Nicole, you love drawing, right? Isn't that what you wanted to pursue? Yes, I've always wanted to be an illustrator, but I know. You never really had a choice, did you? But now you're free to do as you like. We'll provide the money. Aunt Jenny. You don't have to live by what your parents dictate. You should pursue what you want with all your heart. Grateful for my aunt's generosity, I decided to go to vocational school. Finally, I felt a step closer to my dream. Years later, my dream of becoming an illustrator came true. And I began working freelance. I started with small paid requests on social media. And eventually, companies began approaching me. Recently, I've been tasked with character design for a smartphone game. And my name has become more recognized. My illustrated books have been well received, and my income has steadily increased. One day, about 7 years later, I received a call from my father. It wasn't a pleasant feeling, but I couldn't ignore it. Hello? Nicole? You're working now, aren't you? What's with the sudden call? So what if I am? I need money. Pay back the money. Pay back. I don't remember borrowing any money from you. It's the child support I spent on raising you until you were 18. I'll let you off with $200,000. Prepare it within a month. Got it. Before I could respond, my father hung up abruptly. Confused, I told Aunt Jenny about the situation, and she said, "Don't worry about it." Still, I wondered why my father suddenly demanded money. He's a doctor, he shouldn't be struggling financially. Why all of a sudden? Could there be some reason he needs money from me? So, I searched online for information about my father's hospital. The moment I saw what was happening, a vengeful spirit awakened within me. I see, that's what's going on. Then I'll make sure to give them a taste of their own medicine. Determined for revenge, I decided to visit my parents' home over the weekend. Seeing me for the first time in years, my parents immediately started shouting. "Hey Nicole, you brought the money, right? We're letting you off with $200,000. You're paying it all at once, right?" To that, I confronted them. "What are you talking about? First of all, why should I pay $200,000? What? It's the money it cost to raise you. Yes. We provided you with a carefree home for 18 years, so listen to your parents. Provided for me. Parents are supposed to support their children, it's their duty." My words made my parents' faces turn red, and they began to tremble. I relentlessly continued. And after all the comparisons to my sister and the terrible treatment, you think I felt like I had a carefree home? Don't be ridiculous. We paid for your tutoring and gave you a good life. That's right. Everything would have been fine if you had just passed the medical school entrance exam. What does that have to do with your hospital going out of business? At that, my parents' expressions froze. As if they couldn't believe I knew, they looked utterly shocked. Dad, what's with that face? It's hilarious. Hey, Nicole, how do you know about the hospital? If you suddenly say, "Return the money," of course, I'd think something was off. So, I looked up your hospital online. Then I saw it had closed down and I couldn't help but laugh. No. That couldn't be helped, my father protested. Couldn't be helped? But there were so many bad reviews, right? The doctor's attitude is terrible, quack doctor. The director and his wife looked down on patients. Why would you know all that? I knew the hospital management was deteriorating even before I left home. It was inevitable. A hospital run by people who always look down on others and think academic credentials are everything was bound to fail. That attitude continued, the number of patients rapidly decreased. And a few months ago, the hospital finally closed. Apparently, to keep the hospital running, my parents had incurred a lot of debt. When they could no longer manage, they turned to me for help. There was another problem in this house, my sister Lucy. I threw a sarcastic remark at my father, loud enough for my sister to hear. The sister you had such high hopes for is now a splendid shut-in, right? Really, sorry for you. Why, how could you know that? Because sister, you're using your real name on social media. You used to post all sorts of nasty things about me. Now it's just a nerdy account, right? A nerdy account. Posts like I dropped out of college, my crush in the smartphone game. Alex is the strongest, this month I'll borrow more money to spend on Alex. You just tweet stupid things like that, right? And all under your real name. It seems that even after Lucy dropped out of university, my parents continued to pamper her. As a result, she became a hopeless shut-in, borrowing money to spend on smartphone games. Then, Lucy, with fire in her eyes, came up to me and grabbed my collar, raising her voice. Hey! Did you just say I only tweet stupid things? It's the truth, isn't it? Got a problem with that? I have every problem with that. I'm dedicating my life to Alex. You wouldn't understand, would you? I do understand. I'm Alex's parent, after all. Parent? What are you talking about? Alex is a character in a smartphone game. He doesn't have parents. That's what I mean. I'm Alex's creator. What? Yes, the moment I saw my sister's social media account, I burst out laughing because the character she's currently obsessed with is one that I designed. To think that the sister who used to mock me so much is now pouring several thousands of dollars into a character I created. Just thinking about it made me feel victorious. Upon learning everything, my sister collapsed to her knees, turning pale, and muttered, I've been spending money on this girl's drawings. Sorry about your luck, sister. Ignoring my sister, my parents changed their tune. They grabbed my hands, their voices dripping with ingratiation. Amazing, Nicole. We had no idea you had such talent. Nicole was always the better child. We never expected such a filial ending. Filial? Come back to this house and support us, Nicole. I'm so happy we can live with Nicole again. Please start paying off our debts, even little by little. Do they still think I'm some kind of robot who does everything they say? I have no intention of obeying my parents anymore. I coldly dropped the truth on my joyful parents. What are you talking about? There's no way I'd help you after all the abuse and kicking me out of the house. How dare you say such things so lightly? Wait, please. It's not like that, Nicole. That's right. We've always cared about you. Don't mess with me. You just want to use me for money now that I'm successful. I'm not going to be controlled by such trashy parents anymore. The hospital closure and the way sister turned out, it's all your own doing. Suffer for all I care. Go to hell, all of you. I ignored my staggering parents and forcefully shut the front door. Later, I heard from my aunt that my parents had declared bankruptcy. They had sold the house and all their possessions. But it wasn't enough to cover their debts, and bankruptcy was the only option left. Until the end, they were looking for me, but thanks to my aunt hiding me, they couldn't find my whereabouts. I can't thank my aunt enough. Everything I have now is thanks to her. Aunt Jenny, thank you so much. It's fine. I'm really happy that Nicole can work doing what she loves. I'm grateful to you, Aunt. Thank you for taking me in back then. Hee, thanks to Nicole, I'm happy too. My aunt and I smiled at each other. Maybe I'll get married if I meet the right person in the future. Until then, I want to repay my aunt as much as I can.